Hey everyone, thank you for clicking on this video, and today we're going to be talking about how the UK has actually deleted one of the most important plans that they had for their net zero strategy and how they're lying about the reason why they deleted it. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Seb. I make animal rights and veganism related content every single week on this channel, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button so you can stay up to date, because a lot of my past videos have not been notifying my subscribers. If you would like to follow me on other social media platforms as well, feel free to do that, and also get yourself my free ebook available in 20 languages about animal rights and logical fallacies. This will really help you have easier and better conversations with people when you're talking about veganism and animal rights. Now, back to today's subject. This is so ridiculous. I have no words to explain how shocked I was at the different things that I found out when I was researching about what happened. So basically, the UK is working on this thing called the net zero strategy, where they want to be as green as possible, as sustainable as possible. And for this, they're going through different plans, different ideas that they have, different strategies and campaigns that they're going to make in order to help make the country be more sustainable, both on a systemic level and on the individual level. Now, interestingly, one of the plans that we're going to be talking about was deleted when the strategy was published. And that's really interesting because the reason why they claim they deleted it is a complete made-up lie. They're not even being honest about why they deleted it. So if you're wondering what plan this was, it was actually a government research recommending a plan to shift dietary habits to change what people are consuming as food. And as most of you already guessed, this was about making the shift into more plant-based foods away from animal-based foods for sustainability reasons. Now, I do want to make one thing clear, that sustainability is not something that makes the animal rights message stronger. It's just something that comes along plant-exclusive diets. I'm not trying to make a point here that animals deserve moral rights because we're destroying the planet by killing them. Their basic moral rights should be respected regardless of whether or not what I'm going to be talking about is sustainable. So one of the other recommendations was also introducing some kind of tax on carbon-heavy foods such as meat. And this is something that has been talked about a lot. And when it comes down to it, when the research was made, when the plan was proposed, it was already in the strategy and then it got deleted. And the reason for introducing the carbon-heavy tax is to make people lean more into plant-based foods and plant-based alternatives as well. Now, I went and read some of the points that this paper was talking about, and in this point, when they talk about behavior change principles for net zero, they clearly says that we do need significant behavioral change, including rapid and widespread adoption of new technologies and a significant reduction in demand for some high carbon activities such as flying and eating ruminant meat and dairy. Now, they continue by talking about how important it is for the government to do some effort to make these changes easier on the citizens. And in this section, they say that a large body of research confirms that convenience matters a great deal. For widespread voluntary adoption, cycling needs to be as easy as driving. You have to make it easier for people to decide to pick up their bicycles and go to work instead of drive to work. That includes making pathways for bicycles and making sure that it's safe for them to do that. And then they continue by saying buying plant-based food needs to be as easy as buying meat. So we have to make it very convenient to purchase these products. In the same way, it continues by talking about traveling long distance by train should be as easy as flying, etc., etc. You get what I'm saying. Basically, they talked about how the government should do some effort in making it more convenient for citizens to choose plant-based foods, which happen to be much more sustainable than animal-based foods. And even though it all makes sense, after the publication of all of this, they just deleted it. And here comes the worst part. They completely lied about why they deleted it. They said, we have no plans whatsoever to dictate consumer behavior in this way. For that reason, our net zero strategy published yesterday contains no such plans. All right, so let's look into this. They're claiming that the reason why they deleted it is because they don't want to dictate consumer behavior. They even tried to justify by claiming that the strategy that they published did not have any plans like. So nowhere in the strategy that they published is there dictating of what consumers are buying. So I went ahead and I looked into the strategy that they're proposing. And surprise, surprise, of course they're dictating consumer behavior. Of course they're doing that. Now, one of the strategies is changing and transitioning the transportation sector. So if you look at the strategy in which they're claiming they are not dictating what people can buy and shouldn't buy, the first key commitment is ending the sale of new petrol and diesel cars and vans from 2030. From 2035, all new cars and vans must be zero emission at the tailpipe. So if you are taking that out of the market, That's even worse than what you're doing with the initial plan that we talked about when it comes to foods, because you weren't taking out the meat industry, you were just making it easier to buy plant-based foods. But when it comes to transportation, you don't mind completely removing cars that use petrol and diesel. So why is it that you're dictating what people buy to get somewhere, but not what people buy to eat something? And then even lying by claiming that you don't have anything of the sort in the strategy. Now, let's continue. Of course, there are so many things, and you can very clearly see that they're also talking about taking the bicycle or walking. And these are all consumer and individual changes that you are either making it easier for them to adapt or literally forcing them, while simultaneously not agreeing to do that when it comes to meat and dairy, making up a lie by saying we don't do that kind of stuff. They are investing £2 billion in cycling and walking, building first hundreds then thousands of miles of segregated cycle lane and more low traffic neighborhoods, with the aim that half of all journeys in towns and cities will be cycled or walked by 2030. Amazing initiative, right? I think that's absolutely great. But that is exactly what the researchers were asking you to do with the food system. They didn't tell you to completely remove the meat and dairy industry, which I think all countries should do to begin with. They just asked you to make it easier, more convenient, and cheaper for people to buy the sustainable foods that are plant-based foods. Now, the reason why this is so messed up and dangerous, other than the fact that they're completely lying to your face, is because the behavioral change that they want to create in people, which is something positive by all the things that they mentioned already in the net zero strategy, does not include the behavioral change that has been proven by scientific studies, including UK-based researchers and universities, to reduce your environmental impact the most, switching to a plant-exclusive vegan diet. So the one behavioral change that has been proven by science to be the most effective one is completely off the table. And I made another video talking about the one major thing you can do to reduce your environmental footprint, and it's not your diet, but when it comes to behavior, it is. Okay, now if you want to watch more about that, you can click on this video. So a very famous study called Reducing Food's Environmental Impact by Producers and Consumers a few years ago at the Oxford University showed that removing meat and dairy alone from your diet can reduce an individual's carbon footprint by 73%. You heard that right. Your current carbon footprint can be reduced by 73% if you remove meat and dairy alone. This study also found that if everybody did that, the global farmland would be reduced by 75%. That is enough space to fit in the US, China, Australia, and the European Union. That much land could be saved if everyone removed meat and dairy from their diets. Now, not only would this massively reduce all the greenhouse gas emissions, but it would also free up a lot of wild land that is currently being used for agriculture, which also happens to be one of the main causes of wildlife extinction. So we are tackling all these things by this one small behavioral change, and you didn't even want to put that in the strategy. Now, finally, what did the researchers say when they did this study and found out this really important information? Well, they said consumers take time to become aware of things and then even more to act on them. Furthermore, the labels probably need to be in combination with taxes and subsidies. My view is that communicating information to consumers could tip the entire food system towards sustainability and accountability. So what the UK government is doing is exactly the opposite of what the researchers in the sustainability field are saying that they should do. This is so mind-blowing, and obviously we all know what's happening. There's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of lobbying involved. My guess is the meat and dairy realized, like, okay, this is another threat again. Let's fill in some pockets with some money and delete this part of the plan. And the worst part is that the government says, oh, well, we don't dictate consumer change. It's a straight up lie. That's all I have to share today. I wish I had something good to share, but I unfortunately don't, not with this video. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Make sure to go ahead and grab that free book off my website. And if you would like to support my online or offline activism, if you find any value in it, I would really appreciate it. You can go ahead and check out the sports section of my website. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification button, and I'll see you in the next video.